Dobar dan, i hvala that you could make it to this webinar where I'll be actually explaining something more about talent sourcing, exampled and with some examples actually in Balkan region. Before we actually start, I will start with some intro because I can see I'm a little bit glimpsing here to the right where I can see not only your comments. If you have any comments, of course, put it under the YouTube video, or maybe you are watching that on LinkedIn or Facebook as well. I can see everything right here. And of course, I can see people are actually signing in. So let's start with some quick intro where maybe you can see that technologies and not only software, but everything like that is really impacting how we work with candidates on daily basis. But imagine there are already things like, for example, virtual reality applied into let's say people management. In this case, not exactly recruitment. This is a company Tailspin, and they create like a VR headset which you can use to simulate how to fire people. Yeah, because sometimes, of course, when you don't have the experience with that, this is application applied to this simple problem. Another company, actually from Scandinavia, Tengai, created Tengai Unbiased, which is a robot, which really looks like a robot. It's not just a software. It's not just an application. It's really like a bust, which can do like interviews for you. Yeah. So this is another application of that. Imagine face recognition. Face recognition, we can say that it's actually built on artificial intelligence. This is a piece of hardware we actually created here at our office, at recruitment company. Imagine the chassis is printed on a 3D printer, and you can see inside that there is just a small Raspberry Pi computer for a few bucks. And what you can do with that? You can actually take a picture of someone. Here, for example, there was one MC of the conference, and it's actually comparing his face now with LinkedIn images. Yeah, and as you can see, it was able to say that with a similarity of 98.2%, it's actually Peter Skondrianis from this company with this title. Yeah, if you want to do this in real life, now you have a chance, because there is a software called PimEyes. If you open pimeyes.com, for example, on your mobile phone, you can literally take a picture of anyone in the street. Yeah? So I took a picture here at Starbucks of this person, and actually you can see from a tough angle. Yeah, it's actually from the side. It was able to say this is the face in the picture. It's done automatically. 7 out of 10, like the quality. And based on that, it's able, based on the image footprint, face footprint of this person, is able to find other pictures of this same person on the internet. Based on that, I'm able to say who's this person is. Yeah? In this case, it's Maciej Matulin. You might know him from some conferences. Yeah? So this is really technology applied into daily, also like a recruitment life, because this is like ultimate tool for networking. Yeah? Imagine that you are attending some conferences, etc. You don't know who that person is. You can just take the picture, even from distance, even from like 10 meters. It's absolutely okay. If that person has some digital footprint on the internet, at least some images, etc., it should be able to actually recognize the person. So who am I actually? Why you should listen to me? I'm actually a former software engineer. I studied the Faculty of Nuclear Sciences and Physical Engineering. And I'm basically a software engineer who currently kind of skipped into sourcing. I say currently, but it was actually something sometime in 2006 or 2007 when I started to utilizing LinkedIn and other sources for sourcing IT candidates back then. This is actually our new studio, which you can see on the picture. Obviously, I'm not sitting in that studio right now. I'm in our podcasting studio. Based on this know-how, actually also based on this know-how, I'm covering this. We built a company with 150 people. Actually, even Financial Times awarded us as 415 fastest growing company in Europe. And we do not only recruitment, we also do training, obviously. That's why I'm here. and we also do software. Datacruit is our ATS, so we also build our own software for recruitment. So all of these 3 brands sitting under one roof are working synergically into in recruitment in general. Of course, we have also our partners abroad. So, for example, in your region, in Balkans, is actually Popcorn Recruiters. And if you want to know more about this content, which I'm opening right now, you can also go to this training, which is Certified Sourcer and Recruiter, where 8 different trainers are covering topics which are actually, I would say, not trendy just now, but those topics are needed by the modern recruiters in today's world. Actually, our certification, it's not only training, it's not only 2-day or 4-day training, but also it's really the credible certification. We kind of pursue to be the #1 international certification authority in recruitment. That's why we partnered, for example, with Jan Milfight, a former president of Microsoft Europe, who's actually boss was actually Bill Gates, back then. And he's our chairman of the board. So he's also, as you can see here, actually signed on the certificate, as well as other companies like Nestle, Unilever, L'Oreal, Red Bull, etc. And of course, the rave of other certified people who are already there. As you can see, we do these trainings now mainly online. Partially, we do them face-to-face as well. But this is already hundreds of companies, now maybe even thousands of companies, 10,000s of people we already trained in the past for this. All right, so what we are covering today, I actually took it from the perspective of the recruiter. Of course, we can talk here about some strategies, like, for example, eduployment. If you don't know what eduployment is, currently a trendy thing of reskilling employees. But you will not reskill employees in your like tomorrow, in your daily routine. So I took it now from a perspective of you, of a recruiter having your daily problems. So one problem you can have is that you don't have a clue if you are able actually to fill the roles which are dedicated to you. So that's #1. Another problem you might be, I don't have enough candidates. So for that role, I don't have enough candidates in my pipeline. I cannot keep up with my tasks. I do a lot of things, but I cannot keep up with that because I need to write here some invitations. I need to do some interviews. I need to do some job descriptions, for example, etc., etc. And maybe finally, candidates don't respond to me. That might be like a daily problem as well. Of course, there are many other problems. You can say, my problem now is that a lot of people actually are rejecting my job offers. Of course, I would say, and I agree, it's definitely a problem of today. I think today's funnels numbers, and you will see the funnels after COVID, and definitely this is a problem. But let's say I would put this into the category, I don't have enough candidates. So problem #1, I don't know if I have a chance actually to fill the roles which are dedicated to me. Solution, data-oriented sourcing, and recruitment. What I actually mean by that in a practical way. This is actually a funnel from our database, from our ATS, where I selected, as you can see here, 47 placements, and these are IT only. These placements are really IT only. This is, I think, March of this year. And so, as you can see, to fill 47 roles, we actually needed to approach over 15,000 people. On the top line, over 15,000 people we needed to approach, which when we recalculate it to one placement, it's actually over 300 profiles. That's quite a lot. I know companies even from before COVID, from in-house perspective, who actually needed to approach on average 300 people to get that one higher. I would say, even for the most tough senior Java backend developer roles, for example, it was, let's say, 200, 250. So 320, it's kind of extreme. But when we break down the funnel, we can actually find a problem. And the problem is here actually in the offer send and placement. So imagine that we need to send 2 offers to get that 1 placement. So half of our offers are being rejected for some reason. Yeah, that's how candidates behave after COVID for some reason. Which means to fill the numbers, to fill, for example, this benchmark right here, this quote, we actually need to put more people on the top line, yeah? Which also creating a challenge for you if you are even able to find more people of this sort. Yeah? I will tackle on that later on. So if you know these numbers, then of course, depends how you work. If you are a 360-degree recruiter, or maybe you are a recruiter and you have your own sourcers, then you can do some more math under that. So imagine that we have a recruiter, that's the middle column, and the recruiter, this particular one recruiter, needs to do 7 interviews to get that 1 placement. And his or her sourcer needs to do 19 people put on long list, which means we can say 19 people to approach, actually to get that 1 interview. So when we recalculate it, the recruiter know that the recruiter needs to say, hey, sourcer, give me roughly 133 people, because from that you will be able to do 7 interviews, and from that I will be able to do 1 placement. Maybe the sourcer will say, but I don't have time to do 133 people on long list because I'm a part-time sourcer. So you know, so I need maybe 2 part-time sourcers for this. Yeah. So this is, I would say, some benchmarks behind it, of course, recalculated from the past experience of them. So that's why also it's not only important to have the past experience. If you don't have it, of course, you can take some benchmark from this and you will see how it behaves. If you are able to get those numbers maybe better because your region is not so tough, especially here in the Czech Republic, for example. I'm just currently broadcasting from Prague, and here in Prague or in the Czech Republic, we have the lowest unemployment rate in the whole Europe and basically almost in the whole world. I think Singapore is just slightly better. Yeah, it's not better to have like 2% unemployment rate because it means no candidates on the market whatsoever. And when we know the numbers, so when you know how many people you need to approach roughly, for example, to fill the role, you can get to talent mapping. So we can ask, for example, LinkedIn to get the numbers for if you are deciding to open a new branch, for example, where to open it, in which country to open it, in which country to open a new vacancy. Yeah? Determining the probability of how many people are there of this sort, for example, how many Python developers are there in Sarajevo. Yeah? I don't know, but I can find out. Mapping competitions. Yeah? So maybe you are a bank, so you would say, so our competitors are other banks. Yeah? But not really. Or your competitors might be other companies employing the same sort of people. Yeah? Regardless, it's bankers, or regardless, it's for example, software engineers, yeah? Which might be kind of the same for you as a bank, for insurance company, or for any other IT company. You can actually determine based on the LinkedIn data which company uses which technology, yeah? Because when there are quite a lot of people with Ruby on Rails framework, that company is probably using Ruby on Rails when they have so many Ruby on Rails developers. You can actually determine which company in which region or in which industry is firing people or hiring people. Gender diversity is possible to do as well. So imagine, for example, one nice breakdown is in LinkedIn Recruiter. So I did a search here, Python, which I put into skills. Yeah? I wouldn't do that normally when I'm sourcing, but when I'm doing talent mapping and I have enough results, which I have now over 2,000 results, which we can take like, yeah, that's sufficient. I'm not afraid to put it here because I will have more precise results. We can say that people who put Python into skills will probably have some experience with Python rather than people who put it anywhere on their profile. Yeah, in general, of course, when we take one person, it might be totally opposite situation, but in general, on some number of on some volume of 1,000 candidates, we can roughly say that now I will have more precise results for Python, even if not all of them. And I put their location, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I have 2.4 thousand results, and I can see now quickly that there is a company Virgin Pulse, RTRK, Symphony.is, Ministry of Programming. I don't know if Ministry of Programming is actually real Ministry of Programming or it's a company called Ministry of Programming. You can let me know in the comments. Clica, Mistral, etc. So basically, even if without zero knowledge of the market, I maybe have some knowledge of the market, but let's say even without zero knowledge of the market, you are able to find out easily like that what are the top players, company players on a particular country or region with, for example, some certain skills. Yeah, in this case, Python. Yeah, and I can go further. I can find out what's their level of experience. Yeah, if the maturity of those people on in that country is, for example, sufficient for me or not. Yeah, or we can find out which schools or which subjects are not visible here. I created a screenshot without it, but we can see the schools. So we can see that most of the people are from University of Sarajevo, International Burj University, but we can see that there are Své učiliště u Mostaru. Yeah, luckily I'm also like Czech language, of course, it's a Slavic language as well. So I guess učiliště will be something like high school for technical subjects. Mostar, I noticed it actually myself. I wasn't jumping from the bridge, but I was there. So now we can clearly see what's the background, school background, educational background of these people, which sometimes might be more obvious, like for technical people, sometimes might be less obvious. Thank you, Neira Hadjic, for the insight. It's actually a company. Okay, but that would be pretty cool to have a Ministry of Programming. We actually got a Ministry of Informatics, but it was, I think, there for 3 years. Then it was cancelled for some reason. But okay, thank you very much. Hvala. How you can find who's hiring and who's firing. You can, for example, use Sales Navigator, because what I was showing here is LinkedIn Recruiter, but not LinkedIn Recruiter Lite. This is the most expensive LinkedIn Recruiter. You cannot do that with the Lite version. But this Sales Navigator is actually the quite cheap LinkedIn account for 63 euros per month, something like that. What I would say is the biggest advantage of Sales Navigator is not searching, it's not the people search, but it's actually the company search. Yeah. So I can click here on account, and I can filter companies, but even more detailed than you can do with your basic account, where you can find companies as well. But here I can go, for example, headquarters in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So companies with headquarters in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in the industry, advertising services and media production, actually whose headcount was actually decreased by at least 20% in the last half year, 1 year, or 2 years. Yeah? So I have now a list of companies whose for some reason they are losing people. They are maybe firing people, losing people. Yeah? We don't know the reason exactly. Yeah? When you open one particular company, you can see the chart of the headcount. So as you can see here, is like going down a little bit, and you can see the numbers right here. And you can see also breakdown of that, for example, actually it's 40% in the last year or 6 months decrease in sales. Yeah? You can actually do it here as well. I was showing company headcount growth, but I can also do department growth here, department headcount growth. So I can filter companies whose sales department shrinked, for example, by at least 40%, which you can determine that if someone is losing people in sales, maybe they are probably not selling enough, etc., etc. Yeah, so, but it's based on the real data. This is really based on the real data on LinkedIn. Yeah, this is not some news or anything like that. Yeah, LinkedIn can see exactly how many people is working for your company, if it's going down or up. Yeah, so this is using this data. Thank you, Adela Hajic, for that as well. And the problem number 2, I don't have enough candidates. So now when we find out how many people we need to approach, if we are able to approach them or not, maybe with some other insight, like in which country it would be better, Now I might have the problem, I don't have enough candidates. I need to approach 320 people for that one role, but I don't have that many people in my pipeline. Maximize long list. What I mean by that, of course, we can go to various sources. The first source where you should go should be your ATS, right? You should recycle your candidates. That should be heart of your recruitment, your ATS, if you have one. If you don't have one, you might be thinking maybe to have one. So that would be your first steps. Another step would be that you would go probably to LinkedIn as, of course, when I'm doing IT, I can go to GitHub, Stack Overflow, Dev.to. I can name you 50 other channels where you can go to find IT people. But still, pragmatically, most of them are on LinkedIn. So in general, I would start with LinkedIn, but you need to do it right. What I mean by that, imagine that on LinkedIn, of course, I can do search like JavaScript, React.js, and I'm doing that in Belgrade. Yeah. So let's say you are looking for some front-end developer, and the qualification, the job requirement, it says you should know JavaScript, you should know React.js. Yeah, we can simplify it like that. So one recruiter could maybe do search like this, which for me, definitely the people in the search are correct. You will like them. That's not a problem. The problem is that this list is definitely not exhaustive. Yeah, I can find more people with React.js experience in Belgrade just when I see this search. So why this is incorrect, why I wouldn't use JavaScript space React.js. The problem is that when you know more about the IT terminology behind it, you know that React.js, it's already there, JS, it's JavaScript-based framework. So if someone has on his or her profile React.js, it automatically means that the person can work with JavaScript. It's automatically, yeah, because React.js is JavaScript, basically. It's just set of libraries creating some framework. Yeah. So why to force people in the search to have both of these terms when it's basically you are losing people in the process by doing this. So as you can see here, we have 2,900 results. It's rounded, right? Because now all the numbers in LinkedIn are rounded when they are not under 1,000. And I put there just React.js, and I have 3,100. So I have roughly 200 more results by actually excluding one keyword. But I still would say this is a perfect list. Yeah, those people will be the same as these people, but there are more of them. That's the key. So I'm actually now getting a competitive advantage over the recruiter using this search right here. Of course, when you want to improve it even better, you should do something like that, because not only React.js, but also React.js without the dot, and also React is used as well. Anna Stepanovic is actually a React developer. There is no JS, no .js, just React, and it's that person. Yeah? So this would be probably the best search in this regard here, and we have 3,200 results. Yeah? So this is what I mean by squeezing, and that's just one angle, of course, of that, and especially for IT. But of course, it would work in the same way when I'm looking for accountants, actually, in Belgrade. It would be the same. I can look for accountants by title, by keywords like certifications, for example, ACCA, FCCA. I can use industry. I can use name of companies. Yeah, when I create a list of accounting companies in Belgrade, and then I find employees of those accounting companies in Belgrade, what would be the results? the results would mostly be accountants, yeah, because those people are working for accounting companies mostly. And I didn't use any single word like accounting. Yeah, I just used the name of accounting companies. So just doing that right, even just on LinkedIn, it's some process. Not even talking about the location. I still put here Belgrade metropolitan area, which means that all of these people used some like a zip code, right? So, and that's causing some problems as well. Especially people not using that, having obsolete zip code, etc. Another angle of sourcing in general might be behavioral sourcing, because of course now I'm showing just some examples. Yeah, in the training, which is actually more in depth. I will put you here the link if you want to find out more about what's in it. We go step by step through this process. Now I'm showing you some examples which you can use right away, right now or tomorrow. But of course, it's not complete in this limited time span I have here. But behavioral sourcing is something like, imagine that what we did here is keyword-based sourcing. We are looking people based on some keywords they have on their profiles. And you can do the same on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter as well, anywhere. But with some social media, you can use also behavioral sourcing, because, for example, on Twitter, usually you have one paragraph of text, not really comprehensive, right? Like not really detailed. Yeah? On LinkedIn, you have the full profile. On Twitter, you have just one paragraph. So, of course, many people don't mention the important keywords you would be looking them by. So, definitely many Python developers on Twitter don't mention the word Python, because they don't. Yeah? There is no space for that. They don't consider it as important, yeah, to have it, for example, on Twitter. But still, these people are searchable by the fact that these people probably are liking posts of some sort. If someone likes posts about Python, it makes the person Python something, developer, whatever, wannabe developer, aspiring Python developer. If I'm following people who are into Python, I'm probably Python or aspiring Python developer as well. Yeah. So how you can do that? You can use, for example, Follower Wonk. Follower Wonk, actually, it's a tool. Kind of, you can use it for free. You have some free searches there. There is also a similar tool called Tweeple Search. Tweeple, not Tweetle, but Tweeple search.com, which you can do basically the same thing. The thing is that I can put here, for example, DevOps. I put here DevOps, search bios only, search just the bio of the Twitter person. And I put Croatia into location. So on Twitter, there is actually Croatia as a Twitter field. So you can use Croatia, or I should probably use Hrvatska as well. And now I have people who actually got the DevOps in their Twitter profile. So this is keyword-based search. I found people based on the keywords on their profiles, but I'm not done here. Now I basically found people with DevOps, but also sorted by number of followers. So imagine this first person, DevOps and something, got over 1,000 followers. Yeah. Jurica Križanić got over almost 700 followers. Akos Pap over 500 followers. Yeah. So basically, with this tool, you can easily locate who's the most influential in some, let's say, industry with some skill, etc., in some region. So for me, these are the top DevOps influencers in that area in Croatia. And now I would like to find people who are, for example, following Jurica and Akos at the same time. Who's following Jurica and Akos, for me, is also DevOps engineer or aspiring DevOps engineer, because the person is following both of these people. How to do that? With Twitter, it's quite easy, because you can use a tool, TweetDiv, for free, tweetdiv.com, where I put a Twitter handle of Akos and Jurica Krzyżanic. I'm comparing followers, click, compare, and I got here, as you can see, this number of followers of Akos and Jurica, this, and they have 25 people in common. So Damic Nikolina or Merlin or Bojana Manjic, all of these are following both of these people at the same time, yeah? Which to some, let's say with some probability, is making them also DevOps people, even with the fact that they don't have any about DevOps on their profiles, but it's based on their behavior. Especially when we say that Akos and Jurica are totally two different people, two different companies. Yeah, so it's not the reason why this person is following both of them because they are colleagues. Yeah, this is probably not the case. So this is also the way how to uncover other related profiles, and you can do the same like this on Facebook. Yeah, you can do it on LinkedIn actually as well, but sometimes it's more difficult. You need to use tools like Phantom Buster, for example. I just got a video call with a former software engineer at Phantom Buster, actually, a French company. But for example, for Twitter, it's easy like that because you can do that on a website. So let's now move from LinkedIn, from other social media like Twitter, into, for example, IT-related media like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Dev.to, Stack Overflow, Kaggle. Yeah? Of course, we like social media for recruitment. Why? Because there are a lot of profiles, and that those profiles might have some standard. Yeah? It's a similar thing with GitHub, GitLab, etc. And maybe the basic search, for example, on GitHub might be site:/github.com, contribution activity, JavaScript, if I'm looking for JavaScript people in Podgorica, yeah, in Montenegro. So I use contribution activity because all people, if I open GitHub, you can actually, there's no problem, and you can actually sign up to GitHub. You can be there, like really sign up there. It has some advantages. I will probably not have time for that right now, but this is how a GitHub profile looks like. Yeah, this is my brother-in-law actually. And as you can see, all of these people got contribution activity there on their profiles. Just people, not any other sites on GitHub. That's why when I use contribution activity, like here, I have the results nicely done like this, that all of those results are actually real people. Yeah? Ivan Mitric, Anton, etc., etc. Yeah? So this might be like the basic pattern of how to search, let's say X-ray search using Google, for example, how to search through GitHub. But of course, the sourcing work actually doesn't stop here. Yeah, this is just one example, yeah? Or example. This is example, but if I'm looking for JavaScript people in Podgorica, which is the capital of Montenegro, I should probably use, here's Python, and here's not JavaScript, but it doesn't matter. I should use maybe some other, like Crna Gora, etc. I should use some other terms, including the English one, because when you realize that the location on GitHub is not standardized, it's not standardized like on LinkedIn. It's a text field. People can put there whatever they want in whatever shape or form they want. Yeah, so not only Czech Republic, but also Czechia, also Prague, Praga, Praha, etc. Yeah, if I'm speaking of Praha in Czech Republic. Yeah, with Podgorica, it might be something like this. Also, Python, or for example, JavaScript. With JavaScript, with Python, it's quite straightforward. Yeah, because Python is Python. There are not so many other variations of that. But with JavaScript, I would probably use JavaScript, JS, and maybe other frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, etc. Yeah, so I would use it as well. If you want to find people who didn't use location on their GitHub, but still they have a website having, for example, .me, which is a top-level domain, TLD for Montenegro, you can use, for example, www space asterisk space me. Yeah? Me actually is using also from other, like about me, etc. That's kind of coincidence. It will definitely work better for other countries than Montenegro, but this is the principle. Yeah? Some people on GitHub, they simply don't have the location there. You maybe by name can say, aha, that person might be from Serbia, from Bosnia and Herzegovina, or from Croatia, Slovenia. But technically, this is difficult to put it as a search. But some people, they got their website or any website with the top-level domain name of that country. Yeah? So for the Czech Republic, it would be .cz, for example. So I can be looking for all the .cz. Yeah? So this is definitely possible. And to do it right, you need to do this. Yeah? So it looks nice like that, but this is just part of the work. This is your competitive advantage. Here, you are dividing yourself from the crowd. And from the profiles on specialized portals like GitHub, GitLab, etc., we are going to profiles which are somewhere in the cyberspace, as I usually say. So as you can see, all of this is hunt for some profiles. So here, I'm looking, I'm putting into the search Sarajevo, mechanical engineer, and I'm excluding LinkedIn like site in general. Yeah? But all of this is done in images, and all of this is done that you click into settings and you put their type of image face. Yeah? Which is creating you, as you can see here, all of those are faces. And when you see that, it means that probably almost all of these are some kind of profiles, yeah, on different sites, like even zing.com, like different social media site. But there will be some .ba, maybe a company or school or a conference, or Rocket Reach. It's something like SalesQL or Lucia. Yeah, these profiles for these plugins are usually placed on some domain name as well. So there is, for example, this guy who's mechanical engineer in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and his profile on TrueLancer. Okay, perfect. So when I know this, I don't only have like one possible candidate, but maybe I should focus on TrueLancer and find other mechanical engineers if there are some other, yeah, for that region. Another results is some grab cat community, because mechanical engineers, they work with CAD, with like the 3D, let's say, animation tool, let's say, like AutoCAD or SolidWorks, used in automotive as well. And there is some community website where those people actually got their profiles, like Tariq here, with mechanical engineer from Sarajevo. Perfect. Another profile, a legit profile, who maybe you are not able to find that person on LinkedIn or anywhere else. Or another search, Centar za poslovnu edukaciju. As you can see here, Emir, there is no mechanical engineer, but I tried also machine key engineer, yeah, which, let's say, in the Slavic region or in the Slavic family of languages, I can say that this probably means mechanical engineer. Yeah. And another profile. There is his profile, which university he studied, that he has this experience with CAD and CME, etc. Yeah. So there are a lot of profiles on the internet, rather than just on LinkedIn, rather than just on other social media like Reddit, Facebook, TikTok, rather than just specialized portals like GitHub. There are a lot of these profiles. They are somewhere there, and especially for these roles, which you are not able to properly find, for example, even on LinkedIn itself. This is a good way to search. Let's say just one of the ways. Still, here I'm looking for people who's got their profile picture in the profile. Definitely, there are profiles, like imagine your website, your company website. You might have something like about us, our team there, and you will have your employees there, but without a picture. Are you able to find these kind of profiles? It's definitely possible. All right. By the way, this tool face search. It's not. It's intentionally not search, but search. When you do this, you will immediately get to this without actually going settings, type of image, face. Yeah, you will immediately appear right here. So, okay. So another problem, I cannot keep up with my tasks. Solution, recruitment automation. Usually you would probably imagine that robot is something which looks like this. Of course, this is a robot, and we Czechs actually got a special relationship with the word robot, because robot actually is originally from Czechoslovakia, yeah, back then, by one of the novelists from early 1900s who created this word robot. But literally now you can imagine more like a software. This is actually my desk, not now, but even like 2 years ago, when I have different computers and I was running different kind of automation for different kind of LinkedIn profiles, different kind of regions, and it was doing these things automatically. Because of course, the evolution in even just in LinkedIn automation, it really evolved over past years, and now you can do more sophisticated things, and you can do them way easier than before. One simple automation, even if maybe you don't consider it as automation, might be a plugin Magical. I think the full name is Magical Text Expander. The thing is that you can create a shortcut with this plugin. So you can create a shortcut, and under the shortcut, you can put there, like I have here, like Dobar dan, etc. But you can put there the whole LinkedIn invites, for example, or you can put there the whole messages and follow-up messages, etc. And then you are just opening profiles. You just open some profile and, for example, send a message to someone. And you can put here just, for example, I put there a shortcut, ENLINV. Yeah, this is a shortcut I created. And as you can see, it automatically pasted there some text. Yeah, so Magical Text Expander, it's right here. You can define different kind of shortcuts, and you can put some text under it, including some variables like time. Yeah, when I put there call me, it will create, do you have time to call me right today? And it will put there today, the date of today. Yeah, so this is used by our people on daily basis. It's saving time. So definitely I would put it into this productivity category, that you are not keeping up with your tasks. Another thing is that, for example, our ATS Datacruit is connected with LinkedIn. So our people actually see people on LinkedIn like this. Yeah, they see if someone is already in our database, if the person is already on long list for some other role, if some of their colleagues actually saw that person as well, etc., etc. This is really saving around 75% of sourcing time, because it's avoiding the multitasking into your database back and forth. So I usually call it like recruitment transhumanism, because without the tools, you are able to do just some volume of the job. You are only able to send a number of LinkedIn invites, some number of messages, doing some number of interviews, etc. With these tools, you can do more. You can be more like a superhuman. So more sophisticated things which can be done, of course, are, for example, LinkedIn invites. So as you can see here, there is hi Michelle, and there is some invitation being written, but nobody is touching the keyboard, because LinkedIn robot is actually doing this. For this particular task, I'm currently using, not only currently, but already for quite some time, I'm using a tool which is called LinkedIn Helper. The reason is that with LinkedIn Helper, I can connect even more LinkedIn accounts into one tool, and I can command all of these accounts from one computer. That's why I don't need 4 computers I got on my desk before. That's one thing. Second thing is that you can create workflows. So you can create that to these 500 people, you will send invites, and whoever accepts the invite will be sent by a follow-up message. Thank you for accepting my LinkedIn invite. And here is the job description of the role, for example. Yeah. You can break it into different campaigns, so you can see replies just for example, a role Python developer in Sarajevo, and you can differentiate it from JavaScript backend engineer in Croatia. Yeah. In your LinkedIn inbox, it's everything in one inbox, but here it's separated into different campaigns. Definitely advantage is also that it's really cheap. Yeah, this is like for $7 or $8 per month. Yeah, if you purchase it for 6 months, I think. So it's really also really cheap, and it works with all kind of LinkedIn accounts: Sales Navigator, basic account, non-paid account, and LinkedIn Recruiter account as well. So those are just the main perks. You can use the variables. Yeah, so you can use like hello, first name. I heard that you are a great, for example, Python developer currently working for some company, the Ministry of Programming. Yeah, so this is possible to do, and even more. Yeah, we are using some, for example, customized images. So you can create a customized image with the name of the person, picture of that person, for every of these hundreds of people you are actually creating these outbound messages. Yeah, I will be showing that in Certified Sourcer and Recruiter training definitely as well. And finally, candidates doesn't respond to me. What you can do, one thing might be so-called extreme engagement, as I call it. So, of course, who's usually got this problem? I would say in general, usually IT recruiters. When I ask IT recruiters, like, what's your main problem is, usually at the very beginning, it's not that I don't have enough candidates, because it's easy to find hundreds of people, hundreds of programmers in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Like, that's not a problem, right? The problem is to put them into like a reasonable pipeline, to get them to respond. Yeah. So actually, sorry, Martin, I will get back to this. So when you want to turn this around, you can do a few things. You can, for example, create videos with, especially if you are internal, like in-house HR, you can create a video like on a mobile phone, like video like that, with, for example, in this case, senior backend developer is doing the video, and they are looking for other senior backend developers. So we can create this video, and you will be, instead of sending a text description of the role, you would be sending this video. And as you can see, this company, 60% response rate, 60% of those developers actually are replying, which is, in comparison with the standard, which might be like 20%, it's already success, I would say, in this particular situation. It's great. Yeah, it's 3 times better. If you want to do even something more extreme, you can use plugins like Loom or Story Express. And here, this is our Marketa approaching this candidate, and she's doing video just for him. So she's saying something like, hello, Jacob, hello, Jakub, yeah, scrolling down through his LinkedIn profile, saying like, I see that you work 2 years, for this company, So with this, Marketa, and she's not doing IT only, we have to say that this is not IT only, nor IT developers only. It's a mixture. And she got 70% response rate, which is like really great. Sometimes for some engagements, all of those people in the pipeline will reply to. Yeah, but let's say on average scale, with some volume, it's 70%. The Loom or Story Express is perfect because it's just one click, you do the video, click, it's done. And the perfect advantage is that when the person actually reply to that message, or not only reply, when the person actually see the video, you will get a notification that the person saw the video, which is great. Before that, we used YouTube, for example. Not so great, but back then there were no possibilities like Loom. All right, so as you can see, instead of things like machine learning, deep learning here, this is deep learning done right. Artificial intelligence, the crazy tools I showed you at the beginning, this is not the differentiator if you will be a better sourcer, better recruiter or not. These practical things on daily basis, how to squeeze LinkedIn properly, how to squeeze other sources properly, they are the reason, yeah, how to do that. Of course, even like situation with AI and these things, and I'm watching that quite closely, you can actually find out on my LinkedIn profile. You can find out in my articles the new, let me discard this. You can find out a new series. I wrote a book in 2013, which is called People as Merchandise. So now I created a series of articles and I created a LinkedIn newsletter called People as Merchandise 2.0. And there are over 5,500 people subscribed. And for example, the next article, which hopefully I will publish this week, is actually about AI images, for example, yeah, and how to use them in recruitment. So I'm kind of like scrutinizing these new technologies here in this series of articles. So if you are interested in that, definitely subscribe to this newsletter. So I can tell you just quickly that there are things which you can do right now, even with AI. It's not just a gimmick anymore. Text to image, for example, that will be the article for this week. Quite in depth. I think it's already got 50 pages in my like, let's say in the word processor. So just with the text, instead of painting the image, just with the text, you can create original images nobody else before created, but you create them just by literally saying what you want. Yeah, you want to create a person who looks like Brad Pitt, but is like on the horse, and it looks like Van Gogh would paint it, for example. Yeah, in dimensions 16:9, for example. Yeah, so this is possible to do. So based on that, you can create these unique images. As well as, for example, you can generate AI people already. These people, they look really real, but they are not real. Yeah, they are actually artificially created. But you can create based on a different age and ethnicity, etc. Actually, this is pretty common in Korea, or in I believe this is in China, because the name of the guy is Shin Shua. This is not a real person. It looks like a real person. It might be a copy of the real person, and they just provide it with a text, and it's saying what it's being actually written in the text. And you don't care, yeah. And the Chinese and Korean, they don't care. They just watch news if that person is artificial or not. Like, they don't care. So what I heard, they just use the real person now for some like important news. But for the like regular news you have every day on TV, there is artificial person already, but artificial based on the real person. Maybe you heard about Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis actually sold or franchised his own face to a movie company. So you will see movies with Bruce Willis. You will see probably many of them to the future, but it will not be the real Bruce Willis anymore. If you want to, for example, clone yourself like that, you can use, for example, tool Synthesia. and it's already possible to do that. Exactly what I said right now, like this. Or you can copy also your own voice. Yeah, that's already possible as well. And also, again, it's based on AI. So this is a project called Lyrebird. This is a project called Unreal something. To be honest, now I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. You can Google it. Yeah. So yeah. So definitely, even if now I say LinkedIn is the greatest, innovation since LinkedIn was founded, because we don't know about any of these applications like AI, which we use on daily basis. Yeah, you don't use this on daily basis. Once we will be using something like that on daily basis in recruitment, then we can say it's kind of like a standard, and we can say, maybe this is another big thing after LinkedIn. But so far, I haven't seen it. But I see the evolution. I'm actually watching closely, and it's definitely getting there. Of course, it has some flaws in many different ways. Like, for example, in this case, the AI should select a picture of muffins. But as you can see, it's not possible to differentiate muffin and Chihuahua dog, because for the AI, the patterns is the same. All right. Martin got a question. What would be the best way to contact person that we will find on GitHub if they don't have email, LinkedIn, or personal website attached? Any recommendations? Totally. What you can do, let me open GitHub again. There is one thing. Either the person got email here, yeah, which of course you are mentioning cases where it's not there. So that's one case. Another case might be that, for example, some people got their GitHub profiles like this. Let me load this. Yeah, so this is a regular GitHub profile. The problem is that we cannot see anything, and we have just a nickname. So either you can use some kind of namechecker.com, namech.com, etc. There are many of them. It's based on OSINT, open source intelligence, and you can find other profiles, like what will happen if I do twitter.com/mgloss, the same nickname. Is that the person or not? I know that in this case it's not that person, yeah, but it might be. And these tools are creating you the footprint easier, so you can see that for this nickname, GitHub is occupied, Facebook is occupied, etc., which means that there might be that person and there might be more information on that person. Another way is kind of a trick which you can use on GitHub. You can go to repositories, you can go to some project, you can click here on commits. You can open some commit. Commit, it means basically some change of the code. Yeah? Git is basically source code of some, like Android project is one project. There is a source code of this project. If that person or another contributors do a commit, it basically means that they change the source code by putting there more lines of code or vice versa. But it doesn't matter for you. You just need to get to this stage. And when you get here to the URL at the very end, you can put there patch.patch. And as you can see now, I got email of this person. Actually, not just email. In this case, I got her name actually as well, because I didn't know the name from the nickname. So I got both. So that's another one. And there is also, you could see I have here the plugin, which can show me also the email. In this case, it's not showing the email. This is called OctoHunt. OctoHunt is search OctoHR, octohr.info. Yeah. So this is kind of a plugin which can tell you also the email of the person. Yeah. In this case, it didn't work. So there are more ways, yeah, and I'm exploring also more ways in the certification. So back again to the certification. If you are interested in this content, definitely it's covered in the Certified Sourcer part, which is the first 2 days, which are mostly done by me. It's mostly this content, what you got a chance to see right here, just getting deeper and wider. But of course, if you are interested in also things like interviewing, psychology of interviews, employer branding, we got people from like Romana from Red Bull, actually, the head of HR, recruitment actually, and employer branding at Red Bull. We got people from Deloitte Legal. So currently also the perspective of hiring people on remote, there are some legal aspects of that as well. We got that covered as well. Psychology of interviews. Jan here, he's actually certified by Paul Ekman methodology. So he's actually trained by the interrogators at Scotland Yard. Yeah, literally by officers at Scotland Yard. So if someone can actually interview properly someone, that's definitely Jan. So if you are interested in this, go to popcornrecruiters.com/academy, which you can see on the in the banner below, and we can get deeper into the training. But as I said, it's not only training. At the end of the training, there is a test. Based on that, you will be, or not will be, of course, provided with the certification covered by Recruitment Academy Advisory Board with Jan Milfaj, the former president of Microsoft Europe, as a chairman, credibility partners like L'Oreal, Unilever, Nestle, Glencore, etc. And also, of course, other community of people who actually went through this training before you. Yeah. So, and there are definitely some on your market, because we did this actually also in person in Bosnia before, and also last year, or actually in spring, actually we were doing this online for your region as well. So if you have any questions, ask people in Popcorn Recruiters. You can ping me, of course, as well if you have any questions. Thank you, Martin, as well. Of course, if you want to watch my content personally, go to my LinkedIn, follow me, follow my newsletter. That's probably the best way what you can do. Most of the things which are published are definitely going over my LinkedIn. So that's the way to do. Thank you very much. If there are no other questions, hvala that you were actually been here, and I'm looking to meet you at a certification soon if you decide to go now or maybe somewhere in the future. Hvala, thank you very much, and see you next time.